But at some point, I really realized education is everything, because every time my dad would talk to us, he would say, one day, if I am not around, your papers will be the one fighting for you, because I will one day not be able to provide for you. I will not be able to feed you.
Welcome to the Spark It podcast, where we explore stories, experiences, and insights that spark a fire within so you can make your next move. Today's episode takes us to South Sudan, a country rich in culture, resilience, yet one where many girls are still denied a very basic right, the right to education. In a society where women are often expected to marry young and remain at home, pursuing higher education can feel like an impossible dream, but not for our guests. Meet Clara Joan Mullai, a young South Sudanese woman who is pushing the limits and pursuing her dreams. She's an advocate for women empowerment and believes that education is key for every woman. Clara has defied all odds and will be joining Makerere University to pursue the much coveted tertiary education in quantity survey. And her journey is not just personal, it's symbolic for every girl, for the thousands of girls who are still waiting for a chance to learn, to grow, and to lead. In this conversation, we will dive deep into why so many women in South Sudan are still disenfranchised when it comes to education and what stands in their way, and most importantly, how we can begin to change that. Clara, welcome to the Spark It podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you actually for making the time. We're excited to have you here. Yes, so I think we will just get started. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more about yourself. Maybe give us a background of your story, your upbringing here, either in South Sudan or here in Uganda, and your journey to pursuing education and higher education for that matter.
Okay. My name's Clara Joan Mullai, as you just said. Um, I am a South Sudanese, a very proud South Sudanese actually. I have, my father is a Kuku by tribe, and then my mother is a Madi from Ajumani, Uganda. Yeah. So, but I grew up with my dad because my mom broke up with my dad. Okay, they divorced when I was still young, and so all my journey I was with my dad. So I've just been with him. He was the brain behind everything concerning me. Actually, many people say I'm a daddy's girl, and so I say yes to that because I have been with him all my life, and so I am a daddy's girl for sure. And so about my education, I started my primary in Harvesters, South Sudan. Yay. Before I came to Uganda in 2016 and joined Golden Treasure in Arua. And then I completed my PLE because I was just from South Sudan, and so my performance were not very good. I got a second. I joined St. Mary's Diofe Girls in Arua as well. And so I completed my S4 from there with a first grade. And so I got a scholarship with Leadership Academy of South Sudan for Africa at Nimle. So I joined there for the 2 years. And so I completed from there my A level. So I'll be joining to the University Makerere very shortly. Yeah. So that's the whole education. And for my growth, I grew up with my dad, as I said earlier on. Like, it has been hard on him. My dad is a pastor, and so pastors, they don't get salaries, they don't get stuff. And so for us, we just rely on the grace of God, and God has been faithful. He has just been providing every time, and my dad has been pushing us throughout till this time. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Do you have other siblings?
Yeah, I have.
Oh, wow. It looks like your father has played such a key role. Like, he has been sort of your inspiration and somebody that anchors you through like this journey and your education. Could you tell us a little bit more in the context of, because sometimes in some communities, you find that the challenge of why girls don't even attain an education is because maybe even from where they come from, their parents either do not even already believe in that education. How has that been for you, and especially in the context of your dad? Because he looks like to be your biggest supporter.
Yeah, actually, my dad is my role model. I can say that before getting external role models at home, my dad is my role model because as I lived with him, he kept encouraging us. about education. Sincerely, I didn't even face those pressures of marriage stuff, because dad was always there. He did not want anyone to talk about marriage next to us, because he feels his girls should study. Because all of us are girls. We're like seven girls. We only have a boy, one. And so he would push us to education so much. And so he has been my role model internally when it comes to home.
Oh, wow. That's a really good thing. I think more dads out here should support their kids through school. And it's actually very interesting to know that you have like so many other sisters and then only one brother, and your dad is seeing you guys through this whole process. That's a very inspiring journey. So, why, in your own personal opinion, why do you think education is so important, for example, for you, for your community, and for your country?
Okay, for me, I think education is very important for every woman, because there is a say that if you educate a woman, you educate the nation, because a lady will always come back to support that family where she grows up from, and it will not only be the family, because when the lady comes back, she comes with power, with a lot of confidence. And when she builds the family, she goes out to the other people and encourage people. And also a lady, when you educate a lady sincerely, I feel the whole nation is educated, because a lady can have the heart to encourage others. Because when I get educated, my siblings who are following me will look at me and say, "Eh, Joanna's gone to a degree. So what am I still doing behind here? At least I have to follow her." So I feel educating a lady is that important, in a way that it develops the whole community. Like everybody gets encouraged, because ladies go through a lot. And so when a lady gets done with education, that's a serious thing.
Oh, and also I think also in the context of your community where you come from, the fact that already a lot of young girls don't get access to education that easily. So it means if you're able to break all those barriers and achieve that level of education in the context of even tertiary education, then it means you're already inspiring a whole generation, as you've said. It's like people are like, yeah, I want to be Clara. That's a really good thing. Oh, wow. So, as I have said, in the context of South Sudan, it seems like a lot of young kids and especially young women miss out on an education. Could you probably give us like a reality check of what it looks like for young girls in South Sudan? What does access for education look like for most of them? And especially in places where there is more or they are affected by conflict.
Yeah, actually, education in South Sudan generally it's not that good. Like education setting is not very good. Like when you compare South Sudan to other countries, you find out that the education in South Sudan is not very good. Like we don't have real professional teachers. Sometimes in South Sudan, you find out that these guys who just finished senior six, they go to South Sudan and they get employed in the education sector. And so we are taught by people who are not experienced very well. And so those students in South Sudan, they go through a lot, because the people who teach them are not experienced, and so they are not opened up to quality education. But also girls in South Sudan, they have a lot of difficulties, because the parents themselves, they're even restraining the girls. Like they want the girls to stay at home, learn this, learn how to keep a man, learn how to work. And so parents don't allow their children even to go to school, because they look at girls as dowry. In South Sudan, sincerely, mostly they look at girls as dowry. They'll see their girl growing. There's a tendency where if a girl starts menstruating, there's a way the parents start celebrating, because they know we're already going to start attracting men to come home for the girl. And so they look at girls as dowry. For that reason, they don't even waste time to take girls to school, because they feel the girls will just be preparing themselves for those for marriage. Yeah.
And that's, oh wow, that's actually a really big barrier to education for young girls. So it means in this context, by the time probably, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, does it mean like by the time you are sort of 15 years old, because at that age at least you've started their menses, does it mean by that time there's already girls who could already be married somewhere?
There are guys who are married at 15, even 14. As long as you already have some breast, you have started menstruating, yeah, a guy can come for you and they marry you. And also there's a tendency in South Sudan where they book. So they look at a girl, if a girl is growing at a certain stage, and then a man can come home and say, this one will be my wife. And so the parents know that this girl is growing to be his wife. Yeah. So a girl of 15, 14 is already having a husband. They're there in South Sudan.
Wow. So it's a culture thing also.
Yeah, in some cultures it exists, but in others it just happens. Yeah, people say it's by mistake, but the mistakes.
Wow. Wow, that's actually very interesting and concerning. Wow. I don't even know. Like I would say in our context, like for example, sorry to insert our problems in Kenya, but Kenya I think has made a bit of progress. There was a time also in some communities. There's our community I worked with the Pokot people. Sometimes when girls could get to that age, as you said, of you're 15, you're 13, your menses have started, somebody has already booked you, or you're gonna go through something like FGM, and then before you know it, early marriage. And by the time I went to work there, the girls we were working with, you realize by the time somebody is 20, they have 4 kids. It's the same for South Sudan in that context.
It happens. When I went back to South Sudan in 2020, yeah, 2020, I went back to South Sudan and I got most of the girls I left there during the war. I came here and left them in South Sudan. I got some with 2, 3 kids, and I was with none. Like there was nothing to suffer. But they were already having 2 to 3 kids. So you imagine those are girls of around 18, 19.
So in this context, probably if you also stayed behind, the probability of being swallowed in that whatever would have been high.
Yeah, it would be very high because there's also a rape case during the war.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Oh wow, that's I feel like that's a lot of barriers, honestly, for a girl, which is why I'm very impressed by your journey and also very inspired by the fact that your dad prioritized you guys so that you could receive an education, because as you said, it's very important. Wow. Could you share like a moment in your journey when you realized education could be your way out or the way forward for you?
Okay, like uh I studied all my life. I've been studying and I've been pushed, like I was pushed to education, right? In my primary, there was a time I didn't like going to school also. That was also that time because in the beginning of schools you would not like it. So I was pushed by my father so much to school up to the time I came to Uganda. In South Sudan, I was just going to school, but it was just because dad wants me to go to school. But when I came to Uganda, I realized people putting energy into education. I saw people reading like reels, just a child, but it's reading, it's concentrating. And I was like, what? These kids can read without their parents telling them to read. And so I really started reading. I started thinking about it and I would put efforts a little. But at some point I really realized education is everything, because every time my dad would talk to us, he would say, one day if I am not around, your papers will be the one fighting for you, because I will one day not be able to provide for you. I will not be able to feed you. And so you will have to suffer for that. So you have to look for what you want. So your peppers will be the ones to fight for you. As per now, he's still there feeding us, but when he will not be around, it will be us feeding ourselves. So I would think about those things when I go back to school, and I'd really put effort in reading because I knew one day my dad would not be around and it will be the peppers.
So it's like the future is in my hands.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's amazing, honestly. I feel like that's a really good way to push yourself out of a comfort zone. And also when you realize that there's other people cheerleading you and it's your journey and they're supporting you, then it only like makes a lot of sense. Wow. Honestly, your journey is very inspiring already.
Thank you.
Okay, so you mentioned, let's go back to why girls in South Sudan, for example, most of them end up being out of school. We mentioned a little bit the context of culture, but what could be the other factors that enable the whatever girls, like become a hindrance for girls not to get access to an education?
Yeah, I also think the basic needs, the basic needs, because ladies, they need a lot. As we go to school, we shall be needing pads, we shall be needing pants, but ladies need a lot. Like generally for a lady to go to school is a lot for the parent. That's why most parents say boys are easy to go to school, because boys can, you can just give them 100,000 and they buy what they want and it's done. But a girl's shopping list is around 200 and it is a lot. And so most parents in South Sudan, they look at that as a lot of expense on just a girl. And there's a way girls are seen as inferior gender in South Sudan. Yeah, and so without the basic needs, you cannot go to school. You will not feel comfortable. Imagine me in class, I'm seated, and then my men's is that I don't have pads in the dormitory, or I don't have pads even at home. And so I have to go home from the school with that shame, because people at school, at school, students will look at you as if, why did this one leave herself to get very dirty? And so you go home with that shame, you get traumatized. When you reach home, you don't even feel like coming back to school, because you come back to school, people remind you of what happened. And so you have to stay at home for 2 3 days to first finish your periods, and then you come back the next time. But you also feel that even if people are not talking, you still feel that surrounding is not okay. And so I think basic needs is also something that hinders the girls from going to school. Basic needs, the schools are not enough, because we have very few schools in South Sudan. Like when you look at South Sudan, currently I think we have only Juba University. That's the most popular university that I know. But when you come to secondaries are also very few. And primaries are also few. Like in South Sudan, we have shortage of those education stuff. Yeah. Sometimes even in a school, you can go to a school, there are no laboratories for the practicals. The students just study a theory of everything. Like instead of going for practicals, you're reading the procedures. And so you find yourself not performing well. Like students have a lot they go through. But especially for the ladies, the needs. Ladies, if they don't have those needs, those basic needs, they cannot concentrate in school.
Oh wow. Yeah, you've just reminded me. I have another podcast. I did an episode on period shame and period poverty, because when I was growing up, I did experience a little bit of that. And the way you've said, you're in school, you're a girl, your menses are here. The next thing you know, you are standing up, you've soiled your clothes. It's just very shameful. So you are like, I'll stay home until these periods are done. By the time you come, people are already way ahead of you. So you're already struggling. Yeah, I see. And then at that point again, there's already somebody who has come to your home. They're like, this is the one I want. This is the one I want.
You go to school knowing that you're even studying for nothing,
Oh,
because
yeah.
anytime this guy can come and take you away.
So there's no motivation
Yes,
even.
there's no motivation, because if I go to school and somebody had already booked me, anytime that person can come to my parents and say, I am not ready to take Clara, and my parents will just go and pick me from school and take me away. There was a time in a DFA when I was in around senior 3 or 2. There were these two Dinka ladies in our school. They were netballers. But there was a time, like when it was approaching the UNEP, their parents just came to school and they were like, these girls are needed in South Sudan. And so we were like, why are they needed in South Sudan? Like they're almost sitting for their exams. No, they are needed in South Sudan. And I was like, oh, these ones are already going. They are off. And they were taken. Sincerely, the next time we had a wedding was done and they were already married off. And the guys who come are real rich guys. They come, they go outside, they work outside, they come with a lot of money and then manipulate our parents and then just give the money and takes their girls away. And the girls were S6, they were already finishing.
And do you think, maybe in your experience or what you have seen, despite these people being like rich people, do you think they end up treating them well?
Well, for Dinkas, I have never seen them mistreating their wives though. Yeah, most of them, they take care of their wives, but although when they marry them, they take them out. So I really don't know what happened out there. I don't know what happened when they go outside.
Outside in the context of where?
Like they go to US, Canada, because some of them are working, so they take their women. Yeah. So when they go there now, we don't know what happens that side. But Dinkas generally, I have never seen them mistreating their wives. They just leave them. Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, as you said, it's very important for a girl to receive at least the most basic education, so that in case of anything, they can fall back. The way you said your dad encourages you, they are like, if I'm not here, then this gives you a platform for you to work with. And I would think even for them, despite, for me, in my personal opinion, I would probably think, even if you're married to even the richest man on earth, what if something happened to them? Then what next for you as a woman? And if you already even have children, which is why for me, I would think that also having the most basic education is important.
Yeah, but for us in South Sudan, sometimes we think the ladies should not even work because sometimes the Dinka tribe, they stop their wives from working. So you come home and generally just take care of kids, give birth, take care of kids. They stop the ladies from working. It's just of recent that I see some Dinka ladies working, but those days they really stop them from working.
So this is actually literally a very cultural thing. And to some extent, maybe it has worked well. Okay. Hey, but still, I think there could be the idea of just having a basic
Yeah,
education.
basic education, at
Uh-huh.
least some small papers.
Oh, wow. So, how did you, for example, navigate these expectations of maybe when girls are growing up, they are expected when they reach maybe a certain age, you're expected to either get married or you are supposed to take over domestic chores at home and stuff like that. What like helped you navigate that process to get to a place where you're able to even prioritize education instead of something like marriage?
Okay. For me, as I said, I grew up in a family where education is encouraged, right? Although I would see people outside not encouraging education, there are parents who think marriage is better than education. And so I would see them, but there's a way as kids we don't have what to say. You cannot say anything. Like you just see it happening and then you keep quiet. But for me personally, I knew within myself that I have to change something. I need to go to that level because there is a time that reached the time in our family where my dad had to pick his graduation coat for his degree. He would hang it up so that you will feel the pressure. Yeah, you would feel the pressure that I also need to wear that gown. So I feel I passed through it because of the push. Because of the push, I was pushed a lot. Although my surrounding were pressuring ladies to get married and stuff, but the family I was in was very hard. It just wanted education.
I can honestly, that example you've given of your dad like hanging the graduation coat and all that. I think even me, if I was in your shoes, every time you walk
You
around it,
you,
you're like,
you walk
yeah.
around the sitting room and look at the photo.
It's like this is the inspiration. This is where I need to go. Oh wow. Your dad, like, I think he's actually such an inspiration and he has played such a key role. I honestly, on my part, I would say I'm really proud of the work he has done, raising you girls and all that and encouraging you to pursue education and stuff like that. And that was good. It was a good thing to hang the coat. Oh wow. So a lot of girls, as you said, some of you who are able to get parents who understand the whatever the importance of education literally escape that cycle of poverty and also the cycle of being disenfranchised from getting an education. But then again, there's so many other girls out there who are literally going through that. It's either they get married early, they don't get those opportunities, they have no hope. What impact does denying a girl education have on their personal development, in your opinion, and the progress of their communities, their families? Yeah.
Yeah, I think if a girl is stopped from education, it first of all hinders their understanding because ladies have a lot to learn in life. Sincerely, if you get to schools, we are taught a lot of things. They teach you even how to use pads. We are taught at school. In primary, they used to take us and teach us those stuff. And so a lady who does not go through that level of education, at least Simi says how to use even a pad. Like they don't know how to use those things. Now assuming you get pad for a lady and then you give her the pads and she does not know how to use it, you can imagine the complications. So I feel when a lady is not educated or when a lady does not pass through a level of education, they miss out other things that they need to know in life. Because I have also come across this saying that sex reduces menstrual pain. you hear those type of compliments in the community. They tell you, when you go for sex during your menstrual, it reduces. Now a lady who has not gone to school, you tell her this, the lady will think it's true. And then she'll maybe if she has a boyfriend or stuff, she'll go and try. And then at the end, the lady gets used to those stuff and then gets pregnant that side, and it's done. So for me, I think if a lady goes to school, she gets the opportunity to get exposed. In school, first of all, people sit in groups, people talk about their experiences, and then you get to learn that, hey, there's something like this. Kumbe, it is not true that sex reduces pain. There are other alternatives. You can take maybe medicines or warm water or stuff like that. You can get those things in the schools, because at home, in the community we live in, people speak anything anyhow. And so when you don't know how to differentiate, you will just get consumed into what they are saying. So I think the ladies who are not getting educated, they go through a lot. They don't get exposed. And then the other thing is their skills are hindered, because in schools we have things like sports, we have shows, talent shows or stuff. And then you as a lady, you will also venture into some of those things, and then you will realize your talent there. And then a lady who is not going to school gets, you're just at home. You'll not even know what you're supposed to do, what you have within yourself, your potentials. You'll not know your potentials. Maybe if you go to school and then you try something, obviously it's not like you just try what you know. You try something and then you fail, and then you say, I think I'm better in this. You try that one, and then until you realize where you're supposed to be, and then you know your potential. But I think ladies who are held behind at home, they're really missing a lot, because they don't get to develop themselves. They don't get to know their skills, what they can do and what they cannot do. And then it affects the general community, because when ladies are not educated, women who are not educated, they come up and then they grow their children, they develop also with that mindset. Like when a lady is educated, assuming you have a woman who is educated, your children come home from school, they speak to them in English. At least the mother is there to do for them their homework. You are at work, your woman does the homework for the kids. Your woman teaches the kids how to speak English, some of those simple English songs. The kids grab things very fast when they go to school. Even they are taught something that their mother had taught them before, and they get, and everything is easy. But I think if we stop the ladies from getting educated, and then we are going to get married to women who are not educated, and then our kids will also be affected by the ignorance of their family. So I just feel we should encourage ladies to go to school sincerely. Women will get educated, because an educated woman develops the whole nation. Like a strong woman develops the whole nation. That's what I think.
Wow. I like the fact that you've talked about a lot of missed opportunities. Like if you don't educate a woman, there's all these things that follow. There's the level of ignorance definitely will go high, because I mean the women are usually the first nurturers of their own children before school becomes a thing. So imagine if you educate a woman already before the child even goes to school, they already know the most basic things because they have learned from their mother, which is why it's important. So honestly, and then all these other missed opportunities you've said, like the ignorance leads to, you'll be told in the town center, they're like, oh, your periods and all that, and then before you know it, you're now pregnant. Yeah, like it's sad. There was somebody who tried to tell me that when I finished high school, now that you've talked about being educated, there was this guy I had a crush on. And then they told me when I finished high school, they were like, if men don't have sex, they usually get back pain.
Backache. I've ever heard of that also. They get backache.
So you can imagine if now you are ignorant and you don't know, as you said, then it means the next thing you know, you start practicing. They're like, yeah, honestly, the lies can be
There are a
it's
lot.
not it's yeah, I know, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Wow. So do you think in your context, do you think there's more awareness right now around the importance of educating girls, especially in South Sudan, or do you think there's more that needs to be done?
I think there's more to be done. Though currently we have those NGOs that are advocating for education. Yeah, like the GESS. Yeah, there's that GESS, and then they give money to South Sudan ladies. So there's a way in South Sudan, every month they come to schools. There are ladies who are registered.
Guess is
So
a program. Sorry.
yeah, GESS is a program. Like it's what? Girls Education South Sudan, something like that. Yeah, but it's GESS. So every month they come, they give girls money. So in that way, the girl gets encouraged. Like when you receive money, you plan on how to buy your books, maybe buy pads for yourself, buy pens, and so there's a way the girl plans her whole month using that money. And so it encourages the ladies. Most ladies go to school because they have all those things. You have books, you have pens, and then when you have menses, you have your pads, and so everything is okay. So I think that program is really doing a lot in South Sudan, and it's encouraging. And then there are also these other schools. Most schools in South Sudan right now, they encourage girls so much. Like when you go to classes, they talk about girl child education. There's that program where they pick girls out of class, they sit with the ladies separately, encourage them and stuff. And so it motivates the girls a lot to go to school, because girls, when you don't talk to them, they will think in their mind and implement and everything. It's really, yeah.
So with something like GESS, it means that the fact that you've been given money to get those supplies, you don't have to worry about anything, because those are the things, as you said, in terms of even menstrual or whatever periods. Um, it's one of the things that keeps girls out of school, because you can't afford a pad. But now if you can afford the pad, now you only have to worry about, did I read? Uh, I think that's a really good program, and maybe even more people should actually do that. But I also liked the fact that you talked about, I think, let's call it mentorship. Like the more people talk to young girls, the more they'll end up realizing the benefit of having access to an education, or even probably pursuing that education. For you in this context, I think you are an inspiration for other young girls from South Sudan. The fact that you've already gone through all those processes, and now you're joining the university to pursue your degree in quantity survey. That's a very big accomplishment. Do you think there's something you could do in your capacity to encourage like more girls to actually pursue their dreams? Is there something you're doing, or you would think you would want to do?
Uh, Personally, I said it yesterday, and I'm saying it right now, that every time I get the opportunity to talk to ladies, I talk, because I feel maybe my words can do something in somebody's life. Maybe if I say something, and then she hears, and then she understands, and then also I feel as if my life can speak, because every time you do something right, somebody looks at it and then they say, I want to also be like Clara. I also want to go to the level where Clara has gone. And if I am to get an opportunity sincerely to gather people and talk, I would gather women and talk to them. And that is one tool that I feel I can use, my voice and my words. Yeah. Because there's no other way. Yeah.
And honestly, you've said you want to use your voice and your words. I feel like the two interactions I've had from the we met yesterday, yeah, I feel like you are actually a very gifted person. There's a lot you could tell young people out here, and especially young women. For me, I would probably want to just encourage you to actually take that up. And I have done a lot of mentorship programs in the past. You could work with churches, because a lot of times people always end up in church at some point. So you could collaborate with churches, collaborate with organizations like Patrick's organization called SESI. You could collaborate with such organizations, and you could also collaborate with schools. So you and even communities, like maybe you have an area. I don't know whether Uganda there is area chiefs or whatever. Like there's
We
a
have
way.
areas, and
Yeah, so there's a way people gather somewhere, right? Yeah, you could find a way of inserting yourself into that, and saying that the next time there's a meeting, I want to be there, I want to talk to the women, I want to talk to the girls. So the way you said you use your words and your voice, that's how you start. Like you start from the very local level. Okay, you start mobilizing, meet 5 girls, talk to them, make it a weekly thing. Before you know it, you're now meeting 500 girls. You're going to a big school. You are going to a big you have partnered with a big organization. You're like, I'm coming there for a mentorship session. We are going to talk about stuff like reproductive health. Okay, you're going to talk about relationships. You're going to talk about the importance of an education for girls, why they need to even pursue, whether it's vocational training, whether it's going to the university, depending on the level that somebody is at. That is how you use your voice. Yeah, so you should fight. You see people like Patrick, talk to him. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, talk to such people and collaborate with them. And before you know it, you'll be having a lot of impact, because your voice and your words, sometimes you don't need so many resources. It's what you have at that particular moment. Your voice, your words, and your time. There's this program I was in. They used to say giving back to community doesn't have to be too much. They used to encourage us to give back to the community in 3 ways. They would say you could use your time, you could use your talent, or you could use your treasure, which could be money. So if you don't have the money, you can use your talent, which could be your voice and all these things you're going through. Or you could use your time now. You have time, you have the talent, the money will come along. And then before you know it, you were encouraging a lot of girls, maybe who are at the verge of saying that they're going to drop out of school, you see? Yeah, so you should do that. If you're not doing, you should definitely do.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And what do you think are the practical steps at the community or government or grassroots level that can help more girls stay in school and even dream so big and achieve their dreams? What can be done?
For me, I think we should provide for the girls. We should give them what they really need, the basic things that they need. We should provide for them, because I've seen many girls go into a situation where they don't have those basics, and so they get into men. I don't know whether you're understanding me, where like a lady has a boyfriend. Yeah, you have a boyfriend, and then you don't have pads. Your pants are getting weary, and then a lot of things are missing, and then you call home, and home is like there's no money, there's no stuff, and then the girl finds herself in a situation of asking from the man, and then the man, men usually they take advantage of such situations, because when you don't have, you're desperate for that thing, and then they will take that as an advantage. So I think, as parents or as the community, we should provide for our girls, because if our girls are given everything that they need sincerely, you will not have a reason to go out and start messing and start asking for things from a boyfriend or stuff, because your parents give you everything. You will not have that reason. So I think providing for the girls is one important thing, and then the other thing is talking to the girls. Let parents talk to their girls sincerely. If not for dad talking to us every time, I don't think even we shall be here by this time. Yeah. So I think talking to a girl is okay. Maybe there are parents who cane their children, but I think also caning a child at a certain age should stop, because at a certain age the girl needs to be talked to. You tell her the reality. You tell her what happens when you sleep with a man, you get pregnant. When you do this happens. Because we should not be sugarcoating. Like there are parents who come around that this is bad, this is not okay. You just move around with the words like this. Tell them the real thing. If you go with a man, you get pregnant. If you joke in school, you will fail. That is the truth. And so we should talk to our girls straightforward, and we should tell them the truth, so that the girls can get encouraged. When they go to school, they know, if I mess here, this will happen to me. If I go with a man anyhow, I can get HIV. If I do this, I can get pregnant, so that they can know those things. So I just think the parents will keep talking to the girls as they provide for them. Girls need a lot. Girls need words. Girls need action. They need follow up. And so the parents will do that. And I think if they do that, girls will always make them proud.
Wow. I think you have spoken so much to the most foundational level, like in the context of a family. If the family could take care of the needs of the girls from right there at home, then at the end of the day, it's very easy to prevent all these other things that follow. So if everybody from the very local level, like a family unit, they take responsibility, and then it trickles maybe down to schools, to the community level, then it means these girls stand a better chance than if people are not taking care of them. That's very true. I agree with you 100%.
Communities will also support their girls, by the way. Yeah, because in a community where everyone feels it's our responsibility to raise this girl, and then the girl will grow up knowing a lot of things, because everyone corrects you. You will get to know. But in our current communities, people are relaxed. People will just look at you. Even if you're going in a wrong way, people will just look at you. So and so's daughter, Mulai's daughter is doing this, but they keep quiet. They don't correct you. They just talk and keep quiet. But me, I feel if the community comes together and corrects the child will know what is right, because there are some things that our parents don't see but neighbors see. So I feel if the community comes together and work with parents, and then everything will be okay.
Makes a lot of sense. Wow. That's actually, you're speaking to right to the people that literally need to take action. And if everybody like gets involved and they play their part, there's this thing that happens sometimes in communities, like maybe somewhere, as you said, when you're not corrected, something happens to you, and then people, they use you as an example.
Yeah, they'll they'll be using you as an example. Hey,
Don't
did
be
you
like
see
that
what
one.
happened to her?
Yeah, don't be like her. Don't be like somebody's daughter.
That's it.
Yeah, honestly. But if somebody was like, hey, you're going wrong, this is not the way to do things. Honestly, I think whatever you're saying is important. And I think initially, I remember in African traditional communities, I don't know what has changed, but the child used to be the child of the community. Everybody would literally correct you. But right now, it's like people don't care.
Currently, even people don't want their children to be corrected. That's
Yes.
the problem nowadays. Because if you correct somebody's child, you cane, and then the parent will come like, "Why did you cane my child? Why didn't you report to me
you
and
should
I
have
deal
to-
with my own?" You see that everyone is selfish with their own children, and so even other people, they
Yeah.
also fear.
That's very true. So now for you right now, you told me yesterday you'll be joining the University of Makerere. I think by August, end of this month, I think.
The
Like
beginning of
to
the month, actually.
right now, like in the
Actually,
next
right
few
now,
days.
people are for
You're
orientation.
supposed to be in school.
I'm telling you.
Okay, right. So you'll be joining Makerere to study quantity survey. What do you hope your journey symbolizes for the girls out here, especially for the South Sudanese girl? What do you think your journey symbolizes for them?
Okay, my journey, I will describe it in 3 words. One is resilience. Yeah, that is one of the thing I've put as my core, because every time I fall down, I keep standing up because I know it happens. There's no life that is smooth. Even Christian life is also difficult. There's that Christian life where you fall down, you sin today, tomorrow you ask for forgiveness, and same is to success. Yeah, same is to success, because success today you will get a 20, but if you remain in that 20, that is where you will end. But if you get 20 today, and you know that I need to stand up and step up from here, you change what happened that made you to get 20. Trust me, the next time you'll get a 40, and then the next time you get a 50 and a 60, and by the end of it all, you find yourself excelling. So my journey is full of resilience. And then the other thing is hope, because I have hope in myself, but I also hope in God so much. I have faith in God because I know that God is the center of everything. God is the one who causes me to do everything. God is my strength, because without God, sincerely, I would also not be here. Because as I said earlier on, the education life was a struggle. A lot was happening, but God kept pushing me, going with me throughout that journey. And up to now, it is just all about God. And then the last is hard work. Like we have to work hard. Every time we sit down, let's think about what we did yesterday that we think we were not supposed to do. So if you think about what you did yesterday, like you sit down and think, but yesterday people were reading and I was in the dormitory sleeping. Was it right? And then when you sit and evaluate yourself and find out that you're supposed to do something better. So every time you keep working hard, you will succeed. So hard work, resilience, and hope, it brings success.
Resilience, hope, and hard work.
Yeah.
That's your
You can
summary.
also add yours.
No, it's all about you today.
Okay, mine are
Oh,
those.
wow. Yeah, but honestly, it's actually very inspiring, honestly. So people need to be resilient, they need to have the hope, and they also need to put in the effort. Yeah, that's what I'm getting from you. Oh, wow. So if you could speak directly to a young girl in South Sudan today, and even one maybe who is right here in maybe Rhino Camp or something like that, one who feels like her dreams are impossible, what would you say to them?
I would say to them that everything, everything is possible. Like when a thought comes into your mind, if you don't put it into action, it does not happen. So every time you think about something, you need to put it into action. There's something there's a scripture, I think Philippians 4:13 or 4 something. It says I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So I feel every time you go and do something, know that I am going to do this thing because it's God in me and it's God who strengthens me. And so when you're facing something, face it with courage. Face it with determination, with hope. And so that thing will come to pass. So I feel as if I am to be given a chance to speak to a lady, a young lady, I would just tell the person that everything is possible as long as you put your effort, as long as you put hope in it, everything can work out.
Oh, wow, that's
Yeah.
very true. And right now, if your dad would watch this episode, what's that one thing you would want to tell your dad?
I want to tell my dad that I'm so proud of him. My dad has been the best dad in the world. Actually, I say he's the best dad in the world because he has put a lot of effort into us. So much. So many people discouraged my dad because he was giving birth to ladies and there was only one guy. And so people were like, but ladies, women are disappointing. Women can just disappoint you anytime. And my dad put down his heart and he struggled very hard with all of us, like all. He put all his effort in us. Every time he tells us that we are his investments, that means he puts all his effort in us. Like our last born, she has disabilities, like yeah, her legs and hands. But my dad put all effort in her. Up to now, she's in senior three. She's still striving just because dad is there to push her. And so I've seen in so many families guys with disabilities being left at home. And so I feel this is just the best dad to be pushing us throughout.
I know, honestly, we give him his flowers, honestly.
Yeah, man.
Oh, wow. Yeah, and also to point out what you said, in families or even in communities, a lot of times people with disabilities, they're usually left behind in almost every aspect. So to know that your dad is putting his best foot forward and making sure it's your sister?
Yeah.
That she's, yeah, your last one, that she's receiving the best education out there, that's a very great inspiration, and somebody who is showing that it's good to be inclusive and to take care of everyone and not to leave anyone behind. Wow, inspiring. So as we conclude, what's your bigger vision for the future for girls and women in South Sudan, and how do you see yourself contributing to that change?
My bigger vision for women in South Sudan is just to ensure that they get educated in any way, though not going through primary, secondary, A level and stuff like that, university. I just hope that South Sudan women get the chance to get skills, even easy skills, vocational skills. At least they do tailoring, they do those plating and stuff, just to boost up their financial status. Because in South Sudan, when you look at South Sudan women, you find out that it is rare that a South Sudan woman will actually have a bank account, because most of the South Sudan women, they are dependent wholly on their husbands. You just sit at home and you wait for that man to bring for you the money. And so I feel let let them get something to do. Like women should learn basic skills, even if they don't go through that process of education, because it is hard sometimes. Parents might not be having the financial, to take them to school or stuff. But I think if they get those skills, plating, you can get some 2,000, 1,000 from it and stuff like that. You can save up money and then you can have some little money. Because these men that we're having right now, men can change anytime and the man can just decide overnight and the next morning you're out of the house. And imagine you're out of the house and you have kids and you don't have anything in your bank account or even your mobile money account. What will come out of that family? Like, it will be, they will go through a lot. So I just think I feel women should get the basic skills, even if not those complicated stuff. Yeah. But they should have the basic skills to support themselves first and then their kids, and even support these men. And because these men go through also a lot to get this money. And so when you're there to buy the food, the clothes for the kids, what the man does is just the school fees and stuff. So they support. That's why we are a companion, a helper. The women are called helpers. We're supposed to help the men too, but we also need to stand on our feet. So I think I don't know what personally I will be doing. I don't know my personal influence, but I just feel I should be a motivation to them. I maybe my life should teach them something. I don't know how, but I just feel.
Yes, you already said your voice, your words, and you meet them at the community level and talk to them and inspire them. That's more than enough. Wow. Thank you so much. Honestly, this has been a very eye-opening conversation even for me. I feel like there's a lot of stuff from an outsider perspective that I don't know about South Sudan, which I've gotten to know, even the cultural context of why maybe women and girls sometimes don't get the best of education out there from a cultural context, which I didn't know, but now I know. So thank you for sharing your insights and also for making the time to show up. I like what is on your t-shirt. Stronger women.
Stronger nation.
Stronger nations. Yes. Honestly, that's a very good slogan. I think I should put it on a t-shirt too. Yeah, but thank you so much for making the time and also for speaking some power to what is happening in South Sudan in the context of women and also what can actually be done. I feel like this episode, once we share it, I feel like you should also share it with the network so that other young girls out there can be inspired and realize the importance of an education and why they should actually pursue their dreams. We are proud of you from this at the Spark It podcast, honestly, for what you have done for yourself. And it also shows the importance of a community that pushes for you and they're cheerleading you from maybe your father and the people around you. And that's what it takes for women to be empowered. So thank you. Thank you for also empowering us in that way.
You're welcome.
So we are going to wind up the conversation there. Thank you, Clara.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so if you found this podcast episode inspiring, please follow us on our social media platforms at the Spark It podcast. You can also leave us a review and check us out on our podcasting platforms, wherever you are listening from. Until the next time, bye.
Bye.